I think the last topic that we wanted to talk about, though, was sitter responsibility, right?
Right,
We've addressed this in other videos and snippets here and there. We addressed it a little bit. You as the sitter hold all the power.
right.
You cannot give your power over to the medium. They're giving you information, and it is up to you to decide whether it's true or false, or whether it fits into your life and your framework.
That's kind of maybe where I was thinking about the discernment video that we had, because just like you said, that, gal that came up and said, you have a negative entity around you, and for a certain price, we can remove it, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's immediately no.
Right.
Like, immediately no.
Right.
That is just, and so things like that, and not only just because of the way she did it, maybe manners are fun, but it's, like I said, putting the fear in your brain, or at least trying to.
It's
in order
preying on someone for money. And
right.
the world has enough people preying on them for money as it is. Yeah.
Right. So your responsibility as a sitter is to find someone that is a medium that will ultimately empower you, and not say things like, oh, well, I guess what's a good example? It was like this one gal that keeps getting my friend's aunt to buy these stupid potions that don't even work, and we have to keep going in. Well, mostly my friend, but she's like going in there to fix all these problems, and she keeps not helping. And then this lady is charging ridiculous amounts of money for snake oil. It's snake oil, really. So your job as a sitter is to have discernment. I think that's like the biggest thing, because our job is the intentional part, and the really just trying to bring the information that's for your highest good.
Don't trust someone just because they say are a psychic or a medium or a healer or a shaman.
Right.
I mean,
and certainly not if someone just out of the blue comes up to you and says, well, you have, demonic attachment.
now,
Like,
I do
really?
want to say there are people that can help you, because people do have negative attachments, right?
I'm one of them.
I know, bad relationships, because you can have a negative attachment that's a thought form, or you could be creating it yourself. It could be spirit based. There are people that legitimately can do these, and there's nothing wrong with charging for a service, but they're going to be able to explain to you what they do, how they do. They won't offer you a guarantee, because there is no guarantee, unfortunately.
There really isn't.
They're going to work with you. They're going to they're going to be ethical about it. So I don't think we're saying that people can't do these things, because there's plenty of people out here who do that very specific type of work, and it can be very successful. It's the way that it's being done. And you as the sitter need to be asking those questions. It's your responsibility to ask those questions. Well, what happens if, and how do you work? And so there's nothing wrong with interviewing and I ask questions before I see a doctor or a lawyer.
Well, you should.
Or you should. You want the best possible experience.
Especially if you're paying for it,
Especially if you're paying for it. It's your money.
Now, if someone were to offer you a free reading and they were like, hey, I'm just trying to practice, will you be my guinea pig? That's totally different. And that's just up to you to say yes or no.
Right.
Right. But if they're like, oh yeah, and now you owe me, fine print, $300, that's not okay.
Right. So yeah. The other sitter responsibility that we talked about a little bit today is keep an open mind, though, because you may come in, let's say, with a framework or a belief system that doesn't believe in past lives, or is very based in a very traditional type of religious framework. Nothing wrong with that. But perhaps my experience is a little bit different. I have had communication with spirits, and I do feel that there's something more to life after death. That's probably why you're here to see me anyway, is to have your own experience. So have an open mind about what I might have to say. You don't have to believe it. I'm not shoving it down your throat. I'm simply sharing it, and you can take it and consider it and take that back to your power, whether that be God or Gaia or the universe or science or whatever it is that you want to test that against, and make sure it holds true for you. If it doesn't, you don't have to embrace it, but just be open.
Yeah. And another thing is like, if it doesn't fit, like right away, like don't just throw it away, because sometimes things do fit
Right.
later.
Think
But if
outside the
but
box, right? Think
right,
outside the box.
but if like literally nothing is fitting, then that person is just not a good medium. So there has to be
So they're
discernment.
having an off day. I mean, I've had readings where
Well,
it's
that's what
like,
I mean. But
no,
I'm
no,
sure that
no.
you are so overly critical of yourself. I'm sure it was like a really good reading. It just wasn't like
No,
as fantastic.
but sometimes the medium, but sometimes the medium just can't connect and the whole session just doesn't work. And even I'm going to use Suzanne Giesman again, because I think she's just so wonderful. Even she says there are days where I don't make a connection at all. And
Yeah.
there could be a wide variety of reasons for that. People go, oh, it's an excuse because you're not good. Uh, well, that
No,
may
that's
be,
not true.
but
And
it may not be true at
some
all.
right, and some people are way more open than others. Like there are
Mhm.
some people that are really hard to
Some
read.
are tougher to connect with and others are
I'm not
not. That's
sure
very
why that
true.
happens, because for me, I'm like, it should be flowing. It should, all this
Right.
information should be coming, and then it's like dead. And you're like,
Mm.
wow, use your discernment with how you're getting the information from, or how you're receiving,
And
sorry, the
keep an open
information.
mind if it doesn't fit right away,
Right.
because it may make sense later, or you may validate it with someone else, or you may have that aha moment. And I know we've talked about this in other
Yeah, because it's
videos.
happened to me where I was like, no, that doesn't sound right. And then I'm like, oh crap, later on.
Another thing that you as a sitter need to remember, that when we're connecting with spirit, and if we're connecting with your guides and higher beings, they're not going to tell you go to Kohl's tomorrow, buy a green dress and black pumps, and go to and then drive down to your local hospital to get your perfect nursing job. That's not the way it works.
Or not.
They give you guidance. They give
Right.
you things to help you grow and evolve. They teach you, they inform you. Um, you need to realize that that's the way that it works. They can't violate your free will. They're not going to give you specific instructions. I mean, not to say that it doesn't happen, but it's really, really, really rare.
Right.
Or it's going to be go and do something because you're going to have this aha experience
They give
that you
you,
need to
what
have.
I like to say is they give you suggestions more than anything. You guides do not tell, they do not order you
But you
to
might
do.
feel urged to go into a store, right? It's like, I
Right.
don't know why. I just feel like I need to go in that store. And then you walk in that store, and all of a sudden there's this big monkey on the shelf. And yesterday you were in meditation and you heard go look for the monkey. And then you walk into that store because you felt like it and there was the monkey. And so these become little ways that spirit shows you that they're connecting and they're
Yes.
guiding you, but they didn't
Right.
tell you what to do. They were giving you an experience.
Right. And then because you listened, you got to experience the synchronicity and the sign that said,
Right.
way to go. You
Exactly. And then
listened.
they've given you validation for you
Right.
listening and paying attention to your intuition, and they're helping you to develop that relationship. So that's
Yeah.
not an instruction, it's a development of the relationship and the guidance.
It's a
Um,
strong
so,
suggestion.
right. So just understand how spirit works, because some people come into a sitting and they have a lot of expectations and they walk out very disappointed because they don't understand how it happens. And then the other one that for sitters that we've addressed is do your work. Don't come see me if spirit told you some things that you need to do and you totally toss them out of the window and you haven't grown or you haven't evolved or you haven't, there's nothing wrong if you're stuck on something, but if you just
I
tossed it out the window and you didn't do anything with it, you may very well hear the same thing again.
right. I kind of liken that to people who get addicted to readings, or addicted to um or they're called ask holes.
I've never
So
heard that before.
you ever heard of an ask hole?
No,
They're the people that,
I've
they
heard of
ask
the other
you,
word.
right? The people that ask you for all the advice and then they don't take it and they don't listen and they don't do the work.
And
And
they
then they want to come
or they
back and they
can you
want to
tell me what my
ask
loved
again.
one has to say, and then they go, oh, okay, and then you bring it up to them later and they act like they never even heard what you said. That really
Right. And
gets
then they come
me.
back and then they say, will you draw more cards for me? And you're like, yeah, but did you even do what I said, or what happened? Did you
I know I'm
no?
like, yeah, yeah. It's like it
So
goes in one ear and out the other. Not that we expect everyone to remember everything or anything else, but it's there's a lot of time and energy and effort that goes into making that connection and doing that work for someone. If it's not just throwing a card on the table, there is an energetic price.
right. I feel like if you go through the effort to get a reading and a psychic tells you, I don't know, whatever they tell you to meditate, they tell you to clean up your room. I don't know what they're going to tell you to do, but whatever constructive criticism that they're giving you, you should probably listen and take stock in how your life has changed afterwards, because they will kind of give you this like guidance and like immediate signs of, yes, you're on the right path. You're on the right path. Go this way.
Right. Now there's a caveat
but that's
to
for
that.
intuition. I mean, we're talking about, well, I mean, it is your own intuition, but I guess talking about the sitter or being the sitter, it's like, if you get the information from the psychic, yes, there's always kind of I feel like a grain of salt that I take with anybody's information that's outside sources.
Right. I get it. And that's the point of using an outside source. It's best if it comes to you directly.
Right.
It has so much more impact. So much more impact. So
But
develop your own intuition, develop your own relationship. Absolutely.
That's the way to go. Now,
That's the way to go.
it when I get, the information for myself and then someone else can validate it for me via a reading. That's really great. But it's just more emphasis. And so if you don't listen, don't freaking ask.
And that happens a lot. I would say two things. The first caveat I would give is sometimes we need to hear things 2-3 times before or more. Hear me, before it sinks in. So we will maybe hear the same thing. Maybe you heard it from this medium and then a friend tells it to you and then you read it somewhere. And so that's the universe kind of telling you, look, you need to pay attention. And so pay attention to those repetitive things that happen. It doesn't have to come from 3 different mediums. I promise you, the universe is trying to tell you something in its own way without you needing that. So, but don't dismiss it. And I will often have people say, you're just validating everything I've been feeling. You're validating everything that I already thought was true. And that just kind of solidifies for them that where they were going was the right place. So there's nothing wrong with that. But again, once you know that validation, then it's kind of up to you to kind of go, okay, I know this is the direction or the work I need to do. Then start working on that. And then it can make your next connection with spirit even more valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're
don't just ask a bunch of questions and then not listen.
Yeah.
Because that's annoying.
And I think too, it depends on who's giving you the information and how accurate you feel they are. I mean, there's some people where I'd be like, it's like, okay, I understand that. And then there's other people like, wow, that person was really on point. I probably really need to listen to that.
That's why I'm saying listen to the discernment video again, because I swear, like, you need, when you're in the sitting, you need to evaluate whether or not this information is resonating with you or not. And if it's not, then that's fine. You just take it with a grain of salt and move on. But if it is validating everything that you've already, thought you knew, then listen, take stock in it. It's important.